We have some Hogwarts Legacy interactive maps and one that includes the castle. We're also going to talk about photo mode and the potential there. And we're also going to explore some of the futures that could be with Hogwarts Legacy. What's up, world? Back in the video, and today we're talking about all things Hogwarts Legacy. Okay, so let's jump into the interactive maps. And the first one here, we do have one that is completely detailed for the world and the Hogsmeade map itself. Now, these maps are both still a work in progress, but this map does contain a world map and a Hogsmeade map, and it contains over 700 markers, and a vast majority of them have screenshots of the actual location. Now, that does include 20 ancient magic hotspots, 107 vaults, 11 demiguise statues, 80 Merlin trials, 20 landing platforms, all the field guide pages, the Floo Flames, the side quests, beast ends, bandit caps, battle arenas, all shops, balloons, broom races, enemy spawn locations, some ingredients, and all astronomy tables. Now, their to-do list so far is finishing off collection chests. Revelio guide pages are still have to be added. The butterflies, balloons, and broom races still need to be completed. Now, this interactive map in particular does have it all, pretty much. And when you click on anything in like chests or any of these objects here, a lot of them do have the screenshots and of the exact location and where it's at and kind of where it's positioned. And also, if you do click into them, some of them even have more details around the specific item that you're clicking on. And you can even go into a further wiki page that will tell you all about the item. And if it's listed as one of the items that's on the additional wiki type of page, it's also going to include all locations for that specific item. So for example, I have Toadwarts up here, and it's including all the locations for where you can collect Toadwarts, and even where you're able to purchase them from and the shops that have them. Now, also with this website, it does allow you to log in and make a little account, so that way you can track all the collected stuff that you have either collected or need to collect, so you can kind of save all that stuff, and it will help you track that stuff. And making the account seems fairly easy. It's a pretty simple process. There isn't much that they ask for. It seems that all you really need to put in is an email address, a username, password obviously, and where you're located, and then finish it off with a captcha. So nothing too crazy with the sign up end of it, and so that is pretty nice to have that, because there is a few things that can go with that. Sometimes they ask for a little bit too much information, and I think this one kind of does it pretty well with the sign up. And it also has a fully interactive menu on the left side here of basically everything listed, of all locations of NPCs and all of that nature there as well. Now, looking through the website here, I don't see any credits per se. I've kind of gone to the about section and haven't really seen anything there, but I will credit Gamer Guides and the Reddit username DragonEagle88 for this absolutely wonderful map. And they also, again, they do have Hogsmeade. Even though it's a little tiny area, it is nice to know that they have that labeled as well. Now, we also have a second work in progress interactive map, and I really do enjoy that there's two different interactive maps, because they haven't, this one specifically is for the castle, but it also leaves a little bit of room for competition between the two, and hopefully they can even improve both on their end. But this one is very, very, very work in progress. In fact, most of it is not done. Only a few of the quadrants are listed, but it does showcase most of the items and most of the pages that you can collect within there. There's also a few of the chests as well, but it does look like he has about 6 quadrants down below that he still is wanting to use. He's used these top 3. I really don't think this is all of them. It seems like this is a fairly small map, so it seems like he's still working on those bottom 6 from my knowledge, and seeming that this is kind of like a smaller, it almost seems too small to be the whole castle, but it does seem like most of the stuff is here, including a lot of the house chest tokens that seem to be a little bit difficult to track down, and a lot of the Floo Flames, all the chests, and a lot of those pages and stuff of that nature for the collection guide. And that is located on Game Pressure's website. Now, I do not know who to credit exactly here, and I'm kind of having difficulties finding like a specific person that made this specific map, but I'm going to go ahead and credit the poster, who is Post Captain Aubrey on the subreddit. And they did say that the map contains 15 Floo Flames, 4 demiguise statues, 15 collection chests, 5 eye chests, and 81 field guide pages. So definitely very, very work in progress. As you see, not everything's there yet, but it is nice to note and have this just in case, and I am assuming that they'll have this done sometime soon. And as they said, the main game map can be a little bit misleading, and I really do think the game map is a little bit misleading. In fact, I'm not really a fan of the overall map. I think that it's kind of rough, especially when you're kind of comparing the size of the map and your angle and stuff. I've had kind of a hard time navigating flying around with that, because it just seems like the sizing of the map is kind of off compared to how the actual landmass is. Now we'll jump into here really quickly, because I know a lot of people were asking about it. It comes up all the time on the subreddit. People are asking about photo mode. Please add photo mode. Please add photo mode. And I really do hope they do add photo mode for the other platforms. However, it is nice to note that if you do have PC and you have a PC copy of the game, that the PC actually does have photo mode built in, and this is through NVIDIA specifically. I'm not too sure if AMD has their counterpart for it, but they might. But AMD has something called Ansel, and Ansel is built into pretty much every NVIDIA title, every major release in the recent years. And this does actually require them to have an in-game photo mode because Ansel is active. And it actually works really well. There's a ton of different settings in there. If you guys have used it before, you probably know. There's a bunch of settings. You can dial in the brightness, saturation, you can add sharpen, you can add filters. You can add a bunch of different filters to the thing. There's a ton of different settings on the side, basically everything imaginable. And on top of that, you can also turn on the game engine, which just allows for a much more detailed image. Even more so, it seems like the game itself, like just getting that game engine to render everything out and kind of texture it, it looks really well done. Especially if you're just screenshotting from your player character or anywhere else, it looks so much better to do this in photo mode. And it is a few buttons, I believe you can look in the settings panel under NVIDIA. I think it was like Alt and another keybind, maybe Alt 0 or one of the Alt keybinds. I believe it's under one of those. I changed mine though to Alt 6. That just makes it easy for me. Again, the keybind could be different, and I suggest you look in the settings of the actual NVIDIA panel. And just looking here, the default keybind is actually Alt F2. And now that you know, have fun taking those pictures, because I've been enjoying it too. Okay, we're going to end off a brief note here really quickly. Just talk about the future of Hogwarts Legacy and kind of what we're seeing on the Reddit posts and things of that nature, and kind of where it's all going, because it's a weird balance there in the subreddit with people. And it seems like a lot of people are calling for DLCs, and then you have another crowd calling for sequels, and then you kind of have like a third crowd, which is kind of basing and kind of limiting and tampering everybody's expectations overall, which I do agree with, because I think that DLC, like they said, they don't really have any plans for DLC. I think that's kind of out of the question for at least 6 months or more. And if we're talking about a sequel, this is going to be way down the line years. I mean, it took them 6 years to make this game. It's probably going to take them at least half as long as that to make the next. Or so I would hope that they focus a lot of time on it and improve on a lot of the things that people have talked about, which includes a lot of the night cycles, the day and night cycle, a lot of the stealthing mechanics, a morality system, and a much more in-depth basis of friendships and relationships. Maybe not relationships per se, but just friendships in general, and just kind of making everything tie itself together. I feel like the game kind of lacks in that aspect with some people, and I feel like the quest design could really help with that. Instead of making a lot of things just fetch quest, kind of involving yourself a little bit more. I would go back to something like Cyberpunk. I know not everybody's a fan of that game, but I really do think that the way that it kind of produced that linear story was a lot better. And I think if they go down that more aspect of more interactive cutscenes and kind of a more interactive person with people and being able to maybe even bring your friends on trips and do different things. But overall, that's been the sentiment of the subreddit, and most people have been talking about it anyways. Now that does about cover it for the video, and if you enjoyed the video, I'd like to like and subscribe, and until the next one, deuce.